guys, it's Carrie. I hope you're having a great day. I'm literally in my prayer closet. Just wanted to share with you something that came up for me earlier. I was watching Crystal Evans Hurst, and I don't know if you know who she is, but she is, if you know who Priscilla Schreier is, it's Priscilla Schreier's older sister. They are both the daughters of Tony Evans, who is a pretty famous motivational speaker. But anyway, she shared something, and it's just really been resonating with me, and so I thought I'd share it with you because I think it's so important, the way we think, even as, it's a huge part of our journey, right? As we go through this. But she said that, as long as I'm above ground and I have breath in my lungs, I'm alive. But what she went on to say was that, so every time I take a breath, I get to choose life. And I thought that was an interesting thing to say because it started me thinking about all the times that I don't choose life, right? I don't choose in the moment. I dread things, or I'm afraid, or I'm uncertain. And I let those things and those feelings steal my joy. And I have a choice in each moment that God has given me breath in my lungs that I can choose joy. So I just thought I'd share that with you and challenge you as you go through this week to choose life. When you catch yourself with stinking thinking, turn it around. Choose life. You can choose life and choose joy in this moment. And the best way to do that is to start thinking about the things that you have that you're grateful for, right? I'm big on gratitude because gratitude and depression are kind of like oil and water. They just don't mix. And so if you just, switch your thinking and start thinking about the things that you have to be grateful for, I guarantee you it'll turn your day around. So anyway, I just want to share that with you. And in a little bit tonight, I'm going to be making a new recipe that I haven't made before, Swedish meatballs, which, as kids, we loved Swedish meatballs, and we would just make the package, which I can't even find it in the store anymore. I don't even know if it was loaded with carbs. Probably was. But so found a recipe for Swedish meatballs, and it looks pretty yummy. So stay tuned, and we'll get in the kitchen and with what we call the supper club and make some Swedish meatballs and then let everybody taste test and see how they come out. So hang tight. Have a good day. Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. We, like I mentioned earlier, are going to make Swedish meatballs. I've never made this recipe before, and I want to kind of call out that there are certain recipes that I'll make and kind of walk you through how I make them that are fan favorites, and the supper club thumbs up from everybody. So I'll make sure that I notate those on the website so you'll know which recipes those are. This particular recipe, like I mentioned, we love Swedish meatballs as kids, and so when I came across it, I thought, oh, that sounds kind of good. So we're just gonna dive in and start cooking and see what they taste like. So let's go. We're going to start off at the stove, and I'm going to saute up some onions. It's just half of a medium onion that I've already got chopped up in a tablespoon of olive oil, and so I'm going to start sauteing that, and I'll be back. So I'm just browning this, not browning, but just softening these onions. They're just, I didn't chop them very small. I mean, I guess if you're not a big onion fan, you could chop them smaller just because they're going to be actually in the meatballs. But once they soften up and kind of combine with everything else, I think they'll be fine. So here's something interesting. I know people sometimes are like, ooh, onions, they're so high in carbs. But you know what? The thing is with all of this is I am going to do a video on how I used my carb manager to kind of manage everything. But you're not going to be able to get away from eating carbs, period. I mean, carbs are part of our life, and it just, a lot of it depends on, where you're getting the carbs from. But, veggies and stuff, remember, it's about being healthy. It's not about, being skinny or being, super thin or whatever. You want to be healthy. And so, there's, vegetables are always good for you. So, and there are carbs in veggies. So, just keep that in mind. As long as you allow for stuff, it's fine. You can, there's not a whole lot you can't have. I'm discovering that more and more. There's There's a lot you can't have. You just gotta allow for it. Now we finished with those onions. In a large bowl, I'm putting eggs. You know, pasture-raised eggs are the best. These are from a local market here where I live, but you know, I've gone to farmers markets and tried too. You just want that yolk to be nice and orangey to know you've got really good eggs. But anyway, so we added 2 eggs. I've got some fresh Italian parsley that I'm gonna throw in here. Some salt and pepper, and it's just a dash of each, so I'm just gonna do a couple of grinds of those. I love pink Himalayan salt. That's the fave. We'll do that. Garlic salt. Almond flour. And the almond flour is 1/4 of a cup. Get my almond flour from Costco. I've gotten a couple of them just at the regular grocery store, and this one I just like this one the best. So, and I keep it in the fridge too because it seems to last a little longer. Nutmeg is 1/4 of a teaspoon. And allspice, I think it's 1/2 teaspoon. Worcestershire, however you say it. It's a tablespoon. It's an interesting recipe. It's going to use both pork and ground beef, which I thought was interesting. Already, just for the record, this is more ingredients than I would normally ever go for, but that's how much I like Swedish meatballs. So we're going to try. Okay, so we're going to mix this all together, and then mix this all together. We're going to add those onions that I just softened up, and then we're going to combine it with the meat. Just throw these in there. And then I'm excited to talk to you about my meat. ButcherBox, if you've not heard of it, I love it. I swear by it. It's grass-fed, grass-finished meat. Let me grab it out of the fridge and I'll show you. So this is the ButcherBox meat. You can customize your box. Basically, you go on there, like I said, it's grass-fed, grass-finished meat that you can customize, choose whatever kind of meat you want, that you like. It is not any more expensive than what you pay for in the grocery store. I get a delivery once a month, and it comes right to my door. And it comes with dry ice, and it's amazing. I really, really am a big proponent of ButcherBox for your meat. So if you haven't checked out ButcherBox, check out the link below. All right, so we're gonna add, this is 1 pound of ground beef and 1 pound of ground pork. Okay, so I'm just gonna mix this meat all together in here, and then we're gonna go back to the stove and make our meatballs. The suggestion is to use a cookie scooper. So if you have a cookie scooper, if not, just a teaspoon or something like that, so that you have uniform meatballs. Don't be afraid to get your fingers in there either, because they are meatballs. Yeah, next time I'll definitely dice the onions finely, chop them. I'll change it on the recipe too, so it says that. Just put a little olive oil in the pan. It's a non-stick pan, so I'll tell you what, these Tefal pans, love them. I got them at Costco for cheap, and they're awesome. Like, nothing sticks, so you don't even have to use a lot of oil, which is great. It's making a lot of meatballs. But typically, I cook for my mom and I, and it's, this is going to be way more than one meal for us. So typically what we do is, actually always what we do, when we realized that I was getting all kinds of leftovers in the fridge, was Friday night's leftover night. So whatever we make during the week, I try to do something, and most of the time it's on Mondays, right? So then by Friday you're not tired, it's okay to have it again. But yeah, we do leftovers on Friday nights. And that way we're not wasting food. I hate to throw away food. And the food we're making is too good to throw away anyway. Delicious. So this is an interesting observation. Like, I know it's just 1/2 cup of almond flour that's kind of the binder to hold it together. But I'm a little surprised at how kind of moist they are, which means they'll taste good, right? But they're not necessarily sticking together super well. It's not causing a problem. They're just not as pretty as I'd like them to be. But you know what? It's all about the food being delicious. I'm really excited because it smells like Swedish meatballs in here. Fun fact, Swedish meatballs, really not Swedish. King Charles VII had them in Turkey and brought them back. Called them Swedish meatballs. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna make the gravy. So now we're gonna do a cup of beef broth. So now I'm gonna add a half a cup of sour cream, a half a cup of heavy whipping cream. Okay, and I just left those caramelized onions in there. Let that warm up a little bit. Do a little salt and pepper. Okay, so this is our gravy. So as I mentioned before, this has taken me longer than 30 minutes. Typically, this is not a recipe that I would say, oh yeah, because when you're busy, especially, I mean, I'm not working right now, but when I am working, last thing I want to do is come home and spend an hour prepping something. But this was something that I think you could prep ahead. Earlier when I was talking about our leftover night, prepping ahead, prepping on a Sunday, the types of meals that will taste good. This is one of those things that I'm sure, because it's meatballs, hello, the longer it sits in the fridge, the yummier it's going to be. It's probably going to be extra yummy by Friday. I normally wouldn't do it, but for Swedish meatballs, yes. Pardon my fingers. I'm just going to put all these yummy meatballs back in the gravy and let it simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. The other thing that we're going to do once this gets simmering is we like to, whenever we have something with gravy, we either put it over cauliflower rice, which my mom's, that's not her favorite. She's not a big, huge fan of cauliflower rice, but it's kind of the alternative of rice. Now, when we used to make Swedish meatballs back in the day, we put it over rice. So you'd think I would have chosen cauliflower rice for this, but I'm trying to look out for my mom and not give her cauliflower rice all the time because she's not a fan. Instead of cauliflower rice tonight, I'm going to put this over, I want all of these little crumbs in there. Yum. Add to that gravy. Yummy. I'm going to make miracle noodles, which are shirataki noodles. I get them either online on Amazon or you can get them at Sprouts, I know for sure. They're interesting because they have, a whole package only has 2 carbs and they don't really taste like anything. I will tell you, if you've never had them before, you have to rinse them and then we're going to put them in boiling water, salted boiling water for just maybe 2 to 3 minutes. And then take them out of the boiling water and put them into a nonstick pan and just kind of dry them out. They won't stick to the pan. They kind of, when they start sounding a little rubbery, that's when you know they're done. It's good. I'm not going to say they're delicious because they don't really have a taste. The fluid that they're in when you take them out of the package smells fishy. Smells really yucky. I'm like, ugh. But they don't taste fishy. I will tell you right now, they don't taste fishy, but they're the closest thing I've ever seen or had to that pasta texture. I mean, you feel like you're eating noodles and it really just, absorbs whatever you put on top of it. So if you want to feel like you're eating noodles, I'm telling you, Miracle Noodles is your friend. And they have different styles, right? They have angel hair pasta, they have spaghetti, and then they have fettuccine noodles. I like a fat noodle, so I always buy the fettuccine noodles. Oh yeah, and they have rice too. I'm a fan of the rice. I don't know, I think my mom liked it better than cauliflower rice, but I didn't. So while this simmers for the next 15 to 20 minutes, we're gonna get our fettuccine noodles. Okay, so these are our miracle noodles. Again, Sprouts or Amazon. I get the fettuccine style ones. They do not have to be kept refrigerated, which is kind of weird, but they stay just in the pantry. I got my colander. I just dump them in there like that. So you can kind of see the consistency just how they are. They're like noodles. I just rinse them off really good, and then I'm gonna put them into some boiling water for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'll take them out and I'll show you how I dry them out on the stove. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lift these right out of here, and I'm gonna put them in a non-stick pan and dry them out. Very weird. So good if you like pasta. I'm telling you, there's a substitute for everything. Basically, we're gonna dry that water off of them. I don't know if you can hear it, but see it how it starts kind of sounding like rubber? Got a squeaky sound. Okay, we're gonna go away, get this plated, and come back and show you what the finished product looks like. So this is what I'm gonna do. On the side, we're gonna have some steamed broccoli. So I've got my steamed broccoli here. I've got a couple tablespoons of melted butter. This is nutritional yeast, which if you haven't heard about nutritional yeast, I saw something about it. And basically, it is just added protein, and it's supposed to be really good for you. So there's a lot of vitamins and stuff in this. So what I found is best, it has a little bit of a cheese flavor, but not exactly. So it's definitely an acquired taste. I would recommend you get something smaller than this. Turns out we like it okay, and because it's good for us, we're doing it, we're using it, but you may not want to buy a big bag. I got this one on Amazon. There's lots of different ones. Bragg's has a little one like in a shaker bottle that you can try. But anyway, basically what I'm going to do is just take a tablespoon of this and add it to the melted butter and just kind of mix it around. It kind of just makes a little bit of a, hi babe, like this, and then I'm going to just pour it over our broccoli and just mix it all up and incorporate it in. So let me plate it, and then we'll show you what the finished product looks like. So here's our finished product. Now for this meal, I mentioned before that we're doing intermittent fasting as well. So whenever there's something that might be nutrient dense, and our macros, which I'll talk about the macros, which is your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. There's a certain percentage that the carb manager like measures it all out for you. It's great. I'm going to walk you through how we use that tool. But when there's something that's dense like this meal is, and we know we want to have a good portion of it, then we'll fast for the day and then just have one meal, which is our dinner, which is what we did today. I do a couple of different things though to really help me to get through. I did break my fast earlier today with some coffee that has some collagen protein. I drink collagen every day because I don't want to be flabby. And I just put it in my coffee with some heavy whipping cream. So I had that earlier, and then that's it. So this is going to be our one meal for the day. But as you can see, totally hearty portion. Actually, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this might be one of those meals that makes us feel overly stuffed, because typically probably half would have been fine. But that's okay now. We know for next time. So next time, if I want to make this the next time, I'll make sure that we just do one serving instead of two, because this is really 2 servings. And then maybe have something for lunch, so we're not having a full day of fasting. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this served to my mama because she's starving, and then we'll have taste testing from the supper club. So,
what are the meatballs made out of?
Look at how crunchy she is.
Beef and pork. Can somebody
I
have
do.
pork?
He doesn't like pork. He doesn't like it. It's not that.
Okay.
Look at how crunchy she is.
Hi, sweet cheese.
Have you ever had Swedish Meatballs?
No.
Never had.
IKEA.
IKEA.
These taste nothing like IKEA.
Oh, yeah.
These are not dry. That's really good.
Delicious, yeah?
Whatever sauce is, yeah, that's really good. I really like the sauce.
For the full experience,
Experience.
he's already gone. He's like, yeah, I'll sit and eat chicken wings and meat all day long, but for the full keto experience, what is this called?
Swedish Meatballs.
And Miracle Noodles. Is that mung bean?
Originated
Just
in
taste
Turkey.
it, see if you like it.
Swedish meatballs that originated in Turkey.
Imagine. Not good. No, it's good. Meatballs are moist. The noodles, I like them because they're moist as well too. Not as dry. as most, pasta noodles. It's good.
Okay, I can't stand it because it looks so good. And there's a little piece right here, which, it's not a meatball. I mean, I gotta at least just taste it and see. They're good. They're not, they need salt. And they don't taste exactly like the ones we have in package, but again, the ones in package are probably loaded with salt. But I'm not unhappy.
Oh no!
I gotcha.
It was so good. I had to test it.